Oh, how wonderful. Mm, 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 mm. Thank you, Bob. Welcome. Good morning. I'm Reverend Karen Brammer. Delighted and honored to be the minister of this congregation and very happy to see you today. Whether you're visiting for the first time or have been a member for many years, you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known, if any, you are welcome. Whoever you are and whomever you love, you are welcome. We are invited to bring our whole selves to this worship service, our doubts as well as our convictions, the pain and the joy we have known, our longing for connection and understanding. Every part of every one of us is welcome here. This congregation acknowledges that the land on which the Unitarian Universalist Church of Utica is situated is the ancestral lands of the Oneida Nation and the Mohawk Nation, two of the original nations of the Haudenosaunee. If you're visiting for the first time today, either in person or online, we're glad you have joined us. We'd love to learn more about you and connect you with our newsletter if you like. There will be a link in the chat to a form that we hope anyone online who is visiting would like to fill out. And we hope you'll stay for informal conversation for the break-in if you're on the line, wow, online. So, and those of you who are here, there are, if you're new, forms in the back that you can fill out and get a newsletter from us that will connect us all. We have an annual meeting to which everyone is welcome today. Everyone, come see how democracy works in the Unitarian Universalist Church of Utica. And also, I'm going to welcome Jeff Chard to come up for announcement, and then Harold Gable.
Bob Ford might be too modest, but I see he doesn't have a mic, so either way, let me just mention that all of Bob's interludes today are original compositions that he wrote. Speaking about music, I want to let everybody know, and if you've looked in your order of service, you'll see a flyer for Freebo and Alice Howe. Freebo has been a friend for half a century. I first met him when he was touring with Bonnie Raitt. He did that for 10 years. He's a great singer-songwriter, and for some years I've been aware that he does church services as a worship leader. So for a couple of years I've been trying to get him at the pulpit here, and that is going to happen on Sunday morning, July 23rd. Doesn't say that on this poster. And what it also doesn't say was, in order to make it possible for him to do the Sunday service on July 23rd, I had to find work for him on Saturday night, July 22nd. So he's going to be here. Details are on the poster, websites are on the poster. There's a link on our homepage. Really hope that you'll all be here. This is a new thing for us. It's a new approach, and really hope it works out. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Carol Gable. I just want to make sure everybody knows Judica is happening today after church right up the road. It's a wonderful festival. I came here right by it. There's already a ton of people there, but it's really a great celebration of Jewish culture in our Utica. And also, this is a really exciting week because Juneteenth celebrations are happening both at Petersboro, which is the National Abolition Hall of Fame, and right here in Utica. We've got these things are up on the community events board in the back too. We've got Underground Railroad walking tours happening in Utica. We've got concerts at the Levitt Center. It's the Levitt Park Concert Series downtown Utica. That's next Monday night with the Harlem Gospel Travelers. We have the Run Against the Run Against Racism next Saturday morning. One of the organizers, Dave Jones, in our church, and I'll be running it. I hope that some of you will join me in running it. It goes through Cornhill, and then in Proctor Park all day next Saturday. There's Juneteenth celebrations happening and lots of things going on.
Now I'm excited. Would you join me in opening our hearts and our minds to the experience of community and the wisdom of love? I've invited Anne, Dan, and Xander to come forward to light the chalice. I'm sorry. I wasn't making fun of your name. I was loving your name, Xander. And I will read for the chalice lighting from 448, and you can follow if you'd like. So you can do it too. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. Thank you. This family has also come together to feed us today, so hooray. Please turn to our first hymn on page 83. It's called Winds Be Still. And when you're ready, rise in body or spirit as you are able.
Winds be still, storm clouds pass and silence come. Peace grace this time with harmony. Fly, bird of hope, and shine, light of love, and in calm let all find tranquility. Bird, fly high, lift our gaze toward distant
be seated. Now, I'm not an expert in the Tao Te Ching, but a beloved mentor of mine, Reverend Severn Toll, is a constant student of the Tao, has been for decades. The ancient script, called the Tao Te Ching, is said to have been written by Lao Tzu, a Chinese philosopher 2,500 years ago. The first verse, Tao is both named and nameless. As nameless, it is the origin of all things. As named, it is the mother of all things. In the fourth verse, Tao and this world seem different, but in truth they are one and the same. The only difference is in what we call them. How deep and mysterious is this unity? How profound and great. It is the truth behind the truth, the hidden behind the hidden. It is the path to all wonder, the gate to the essence of everything. The Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu. We gather today in wonder and gratitude. And the membership team would like to step forward in gratitude to a number of our leaders. So often we do not give of ourselves as leaders to be thanked, but it grows the heart and soul of a congregation to recognize and thank those who have served so well. And so the membership, please rise and come offer special recognition to some of our leaders who have served. I'll ask speaking be done from here, and people can stand right in the center. Thank you.
I'm waiting for Kay. We would like to honor several members with special recognition for the extraordinary contributions that they have made to the church. We're honoring them with awards that we are calling Volunteers Extraordinaire. Our first volunteer extraordinaire is Matt Cavalieri. Matt attends regularly and contributes valuable ideas to the meetings of the Board of Trustees and the Climate Action Team. He comes early to church to do special tasks that come up, like, for instance, running to the store for items needed for coffee hour. He drilled holes for the watering pails that were given to the Urban Tree Project recipients. He initiated and organizes the food and refreshments for game night. His friendly manner and conversation help our faith community to be strong. Congratulations, Matt. Next, we have two communicators extraordinaire, actually. During the time when it seemed everything was coming to a halt, there were some people in our congregation who dedicated themselves to making sure that we stayed connected as a community. One of the ways that was accomplished was through the Communications Committee and our newsletter. For our congregation, it was Melissa Barlett who stepped forward in so many ways to maintain us as a community of faith, able to fully recover after the pandemic had passed. We might say she kept the faith. And so we want to recognize the dedication Melissa showed to this church in her role as the newsletter editor well beyond the time that she wished to step back. When someone steps back after having served, someone else must step forward in order to maintain our community. In the case of the UUU newsletter editor, that was Jerry Reed. During a time when most of us had become less actively engaged, Jerry stood ready to pick up the baton, including giving the newsletter an attractive new look. Thank you, Jerry, for being there and answering the call of need. Our next volunteer extraordinaire is Barbara Freeman. We would like to recognize Barbara as Volunteer of the Year. Barbara works tirelessly as an officer on the Board of Trustees. She is the leader of the Climate Action Committee. She was invaluable on stewardship in the last 3 years. In addition, she is present for coffee hour and usher duties, and her strong voice brings harmony to our music ministry. Now there's one more award. It's a little distinct from the others. The Indomitable Leadership Award. Leading an organization, even through stable and prosperous times, has its challenges. For the past 3+ years, through the trials of COVID, we have been so fortunate to have leadership that has steered our ship through some pretty rough waters. And now, as we emerge from COVID, but still face the changes it has brought, we find ourselves needing to navigate totally uncharted territory. We need to recreate much of the way we carry out our mission, not only to keep our existing ministries going, but to grow them, increasing their impact on our community and our world, and to embrace ideas for new ways to interact with and support one another. That's where we are right now. We are rebounding, we are making needed adaptations, and we are growing as a loving community. That takes everyone's commitment. And it takes extraordinary leadership. Leadership that engages the board to take action. Leadership that lifts up all of our congregants' contributions of time, talent, and treasure. And that is what we are so blessed to have at this moment in time. And so, with much gratitude and great pride, we present the Indomitable Leadership Award to our Board of Trustees President, Carol Gable.
Thank you, membership team. That was beautifully done. Beautifully done. I'd like to read a poem from a Native American Indian poet named Linda Hogan. Her poem is called Nothing. Nothing sings in our bodies like breath in a flute. It dwells in the drum. I hear it now, that slow beat, like when a voice said to the dark, "Let there be light, let there be ocean and blue fish born of nothing," and they were there. I turn back to bed. The man there is breathing. I touch him with hands already owned by another world. Look, the hands are dust. They are rust. They have washed the dead. They have washed the just born. They are open. They offer nothing. Take it. Take no thing from me. There is still a little life left inside this body, a wild wilderness here and mercy. And it is the emptiness we love, we touch, we enter in one another and try to fill. Linda Hogan. Here in front of me is a heavy earthenware bowl. For those who can't quite see it, it is light mud color with a red stripe around the outside, and it is empty. My older sister gave it to me as my first bowl in my first home many years ago. I have many times taken it into the kitchen and warmed it. I put warm water and yeast in it to begin the process of baking bread. Into the foamy yeast go milk and eggs, honey and salt, oats and flour. I knead the sticky dough, and then under a clean towel, it creeps up the side of the bowl and rises a soft hilltop. The dough goes into pans, and after cleaning it, I sit the empty bowl again on the counter. The fullness of bread, the bread of life, begins and ends with the empty bowl. Even though empty, it is clear what this bowl is for. Within the emptiness of the bowl is held its purpose, inherent, clear, and waiting. Each of us prepares ourselves in some way, consciously or unconsciously, for whatever is in front of us. Like our empty, cupped hands, we can be like empty bowls. But empty or overwhelmed, it can be hard to remember a sense of connection to the source of all life, however we name that source. So many of us remain very busy. Compared to the empty bowl, we seem anything but empty. Some of us buzz with the energy of the times and want to be busy. Some of us just try to get through it. Many of us will struggle with how to hold a sense of meaning through all that is in our days and our nights. Other times we enter our days empty. Sometimes we judge that emptiness, and it frightens us. Whatever the particulars of each day, cheerful or troubled, bored or overwhelmed, it can be hard to remember a sense of connection to the source of life, however we name that source. There's an ancient concept of Tao, which is that the way of life, that is the capital W, way of life, is both empty and full. The Tao calls the name of the unnameable no thing. What is left when the tangible is gone is the unnameable, or no thing. The empty bowl holds purpose. The empty bowl holds no thing, the same nothing that is the breath of a flute and the unnameable source of life that courses through us. Creatures are connected to this nothingness, says Native American poet Linda Hogan. Nothing sings in our bodies, says the Tao Te Ching. Nameless indeed is the source of creation, but things have a mother and she has a name. These two, the nameless source and the named world, come paired, but distinct by their names. Of all things profound, say that their pairing is deepest, the gate to the root of the world, the nameless source and the named world come paired. The pairing of source and creation, of the physical and the spiritual, the ordinary clatter of life and the holiness at the source of all things profound, this pairing of the nameable and the nameless is deepest. Student of the Tao, Blakeney understands the Tao to say that the source of creation and the physical containers of this life are not separate, even as my bread pole and its purpose of making bread are not separate, even as my bread bowl and the source of life necessary to create such a bread bowl are not separate, as long as I recognize it is so. Physical beings are separated from their source only by the way we think of them. We are separated from our source only by the way we think. Our fears, our prejudices, our busyness, needs we impose on ourselves and others, all our ways of thinking can cause us to experience our hands as separate from the unnameable that sings through our bodies. And we know humans are capable of turning away from this connection, of separating things and the source of things. Humans can instead align with separation and destruction. In nature, the source and the container, the spirit of life and the material being are paired, not separate. The holiness of life and the busyness of all we do and do not do are separated only by the way we think of them. Pairing of meaning and matter, of emptiness and hands, is to the student of Tao the clue to understanding all of existence. Bringing together the material and what we might call the spiritual is in Taoism the gate to the root of the world. Perhaps entering the season of summer, and I would add entering the season of old age. Perhaps we can think about the presence of the unnameable within the tangible world of all that is. Perhaps we can remember the pairing of the spirit of life and the material world of life. We can look at our empty hands. If you want, you can do that. Hold up your hands, empty as they may be, and bring them together as a bowl. Think of them as holding the emptiness that is within all, the emptiness that is the unnameable source of all. We might understand that joy and sadness, the fullness of our lives, are not separate from the breath, the energy, the spirit, the no thing that causes us to live. We can let the beauty of all of life remind us to expect the nameless to enliven each day. We can remember to allow the evening sky to remind us to be empty vessels to carry the energy and the love of the source of all. And in the midst of busyness and stress of our days. We can watch our hands and let them remind us to see the connection. When we finish something with our hands, when we stop typing, let go of the shovel, stop washing our hands as we do, stop cleaning or making, we can turn our hands over and notice they are empty, full of no thing that is same as the nothing that is the source of life. The 10,000 details of our lives do not have to be separate from the fullness of life, from the fast arriving summer, not from God, not from spirit, not separate from the unnameable energy that creates, sustains, and recreates the cosmos. Full of nothing, yet not separate from the nothingness that created life. Look, if you will, at times into your empty hands and see that it can be so. May we look when we most need to. May we look and see the emptiness of our hands and see the connection to no thing that is at the source of everything. Blessed be. I'll invite you to turn to page 326. Let all the beauty we have known, and when you are ready, rise in body or spirit, or both, and sing.
Let all the beauty we have known illuminate our hearts and minds. Rejoice in wonder daily shown, in faith and joy and love that binds. We celebrate with singing hearts the loveliness of sky and earth, the inspiration of the arts, the miracle of every birth. Life's music and its poetry surround and bless us through our days. For these we sing in harmony, together giving thanks and praise.
Would you join one another in the spirit of prayer or meditation, whatever is comfortable for you? At the same time we hold sadness, we hold love. At the same time we celebrate life, we also reorient ourselves to great loss. In the midst of skies heavy with smoke and debris, there is new growth and beauty. While homeless people must live exposed to dangerous air, we know that many hundreds of people from around the world create a new home, a new beginning in a safer place here in the Utica area. While our hearts ache, we also make something new and hopeful. How do we hold it all? We dwell together for these moments, empty hands, open, full of no thing, but everything, full of the nothing from which all life has grown and to which all life will return. Let us hold ourselves like our hands, empty and full at the same time, present to that which created all we know and do not know. May we find peace and a sense of possibility present in this emptiness. May we know that who we are is enough. May we be well. and may we be at peace. Blessed be, and amen. I'll invite our friendly neighborhood ushers to go around among the seats and collect this morning's offering, which serves to brighten, make real the vision of this community. Before I read the benediction, can I ask, Carol, I'm thinking about the board meeting, the annual meeting. How much time would you like to give coffee hour before we begin the meeting? 5 minutes and 1 or 2 more to get your refreshments and come back and sit down and prepare to hear and contribute as you are able. Thank you. Now, if I'd asked somebody else, they might have said, oh, 10 minutes, 15. Thank you, Carol. This is one of my favorite benedictions by Duke Gray. May the blessing of truth be upon us, the power of love direct us and sustain us. And may the peace of this community preserve our going out and our coming in from this time forth until we meet again. Blessed be, and amen.